We did the buy lows. Now we're doing the sell highs. These guys are playing way over their head. So, should you dump them? Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and paint my chicken coop. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshlloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Go check out LockedOnDaily.com. They have the best newsletter for your favorite NBA team. Sign up at LockedOnDaily.com. And also thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We're available on all platforms. You know the double bangs. I want them. Take them. Give them. Whatever. Just double bang, yeah? Comment, like, listen, audio, video. We're all about it. It is Darwin Day. Here, and we're talking sell highs. The buy low show is already out, so you've seen 5 names there that I've spoken about. Now, if I am talking about a sell high, and this is where people will get very confused with this. Sell highs are hard to do. What do I mean when I say a sell high? Often I'll say a name that goes, no way I'm getting rid of him, he's playing really well. Yeah, that's the point. That's the point of all this. They are playing really well, right? Trading away a sell high player does not mean you get nothing back. It means you are trying to get back something equivalent that has an ability to hold that value. That's what we're talking about. It is also entirely plausible, possible, likely that you can't do it. That it's so hard to pull that off, to go and tell someone, man, this guy's killing her. How good is he? I don't want him. That is often how I will feel if someone's approaching me with a sell high. You usually have to be the receptive one. You have to be standing there, waiting. Hi. I'm me? You talking to me? Really? You need to be like that, right? As they send the offers to you of your guy who's cooking. And then you take advantage of it. Initiating on a sell high is really tough. Because, again, how do you do it? The only way to do that in a category league especially is about, well, I think it helps your team, it helps my team, I don't need these stats, let's do something different. Now, that's how that helps. The closer we get to fantasy playoffs, though, and when we start talking about this stuff, is if someone's on a hot streaks can last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. If Nikola Vucevic can last 11 weeks. So if someone's rolling, you might just say, well, I will just ride it out. But there is a time, sometimes with sell highs, where people are like, I'm not trading him away, I'm just going to keep him because he's playing well. Again, that does defeat the purpose of this. The main thing we always want to ask ourselves is what this player is doing, is it real? And if you don't think it is, you try and switch it for something close that could be. And if you can't, just enjoy it. Easy. What about the sell highs from 2 weeks ago? Well, first one we had on that list was Zion Williamson. He was putting up some big numbers. He was 15th. He's still been pretty good. But he's 43rd since then. So that one, he dropped off. This one is a very interesting one. Denny Avdia. He was 54th. And I said, there's a lot of stuff about him. There's a lot of narrative stuff about him. I didn't buy into him being this great player that others do. And then I sort of softened marginally. But he's 154th since then. And there was an idea that he was playing limited minutes because of his wrist. But last game, he played 35 minutes. And he played 39 3 games ago. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the minutes being reduced is not the wrist, it's just the decision of Chauncey Billups. So, he dropped off a lot. I do think he's going to improve from where he is there at 154th, and injuries and other things that happen. And I've maintained this with Denny. If you think that Simons and Grant are going to get shut down, why would Denny not be protected? Why would they not say Denny can, if they think he's that good, and he's a key part of what they're doing, and they know what they've got, why would he not be a sell high versus the guy that benefits from everyone being gone? Yeah? So the sell high on him, in terms of the production, that worked. He dropped off massively. I think he comes back a bit from this, though. Jaden McDaniels didn't really change much. Now, in the interim with this McDaniels thing, Julius Randle got hurt, so that helped Jaden. He was 57th. He's gone to 61st, so he's maintained. There is a Randall factor in there, and sometimes we can't predict that. And that's going to be with the last name on this list too. Is that sometimes stuff happens. It happens fortuitously or whatever anti-fortuitously is. I'm sure there's a better word than anti-fortuitously. Unluckily, right? That happens right at the right time. And that's sort of what happened with McDaniels. Hey, Jaden's doing this. Real sell high opportunity, and Randall goes down. So he's able to bump usage and maintain role, and he's been good. The next one, he's one that I just thought he would drop off, and he hasn't, and that's the passport legend Jalen Duren. Nothing to do with opportunities or fortuitous injuries or anything. He was 26th, he's 29th. He's just maintained this number. Again, I do think there's going to be a drop here, but it is very clear that he is significantly better than he was for the first 6-7 weeks of the season. He has made the necessary adjustments. JB Bickerstaff trusts him more, so that is a change. That is a clear change. I don't think he stays as a top 30 player, but top 50 is reasonable. The last name on this list is Christian Braun. He was 92nd. I was feeling the vibes of Brown being someone who was like, oh, hey, I'm a bit worried about where the minutes are heading here. He's still doing some stuff on some really high shooting numbers, and I'm not sure that what he is doing is realistically going to hold. And then, so I could see a pattern happening. The minutes were being reduced. He was playing less, and I thought, right, people still really believe here. So he was 92nd. I think a big drop's coming. The very next day after I did that show, he got benched. And I went, okay, I predicted this. I thought this was happening. I thought he was at real risk here. They got fully healthy. They made the switch, right? And then a day later, Russell Westbrook got hurt. And then Peyton Watson got hurt. And his minutes have gone back through the roof. So I think the process was still correct on that. But these two injuries happened right at the time where he got benched. And he bumped back up. He's playing 37 minutes a night, and he's putting on an absolute show. He's shooting almost 60% from the field. He's at almost 70% from two. The numbers are outrageous for Brown. And again, it's wrong. I said at 92 he's a sell. I didn't even think he could maintain 12-team league value. And he's 53rd since then. It's very clearly wrong. I still believe the process was correct because it was shown to be correct. But then stuff happens, and I can't control that. Then two players and the starter who took his job got hurt. That happened, and that is sometimes that just happens in fantasy, and you wear it. You can't do it. I wear it as someone doing a show and being an analyst. You wear it as a fantasy manager if it happens. If you predicted that Brown was going to drop and he was going to move to the bench, you were right, and it lasted one game, and then he plays 10 extra minutes a game since then, and that just happens, man. It's a bad beat, as they say. Let's talk about the guys at the moment, though, who I think are set to decline. Goose, Anthony Edwards. It has been a disappointing overall season, I would say, from Anthony Edwards. Not that it's been a bad season. Disappointing and bad are two different things. It's been very good. But if you took Anthony Edwards in the first round, I would say overall, you'd be a little bit disappointed with the results you've got for the majority of the season. Not at the moment, though. Edwards is the second-ranked player over the last 2 weeks. He's averaging 56 fantasy points, which, by the way, is just an astonishingly large amount considering where he's been for the year. I actually think with the absence of Randall here, which has clearly helped him, I think he can be on a per-game basis around the turn in the first round, 13 to 17 sort of an area, which I hadn't really been on board with that. Around 45 fantasy points. I think he can be that. But again, for the season, he hasn't quite been at that number. But this is an astonishing run from Edwards. Over the last 6 games, the man is averaging 37 points per game. His usage is at 38%. Again, Randall being out helps a lot, even though Naz Reid's in the starting lineup. But remember, Reid was getting usage coming off the bench anyway, so it's just smaller usage players into the mix. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's minutes up. No Dante DiVincenzo means more Mike Conley, so more usage for Ant. These numbers are outrageous for him. He's hitting over 5 threes a game. He's doing it at 46%, and you will say, Josh, his three-point volume's been crazy all season, and he's shooting really well. He is, unbelievably. This is not a man that was considered a good three-point shooter. He was considered a fine three-point shooter. He's at 42% this season. But that's, again, like I talked about on the Buy Low show, is that great to great is different. Being 42 is great. It's fantastic. Shooting 46 is way. Yeah, that's unbelievable. But if you go from 46 down to 40, you're still really good. But it impacts all of your numbers. And I think that's what could happen here. But that's not even all of it, right? Because during this time, he's averaging, Anthony Edwards, 5.8 free throw attempts per game. That's not the last 2 weeks. That's his season number, which is a very high number. He's at 11 a game over the last 6. 66 free throw attempts over his last 6 games. 66. His last 3 games, 13, 15, and 18. These are incredible outlier numbers. That, paired with 46% from 3, 66 true shooting, 38 usage, and by the way, just a casual 1.7 blocks as well. He's at 0.7 for the season. Everything is coming up Edwards. Could you trade him away? I don't know. I don't know. But there are numerous things here which I know not that I know, that data would suggest won't hold. He won't hit 5 threes a game. He won't have 38 usage. He won't get 11 free throws a game. He won't block 1.7 shots. Could you turn him into a top 5 or 6 player? I'd say probably not, to be honest. So I'd be inclined with this one to ride it out, get second round production at worst, and enjoy it. But if you're banking on what Ant is doing right now to be the winning strategy in your fantasy league rest of season, your fantasy strategy, and in your playoffs, and you go, well, this is the Ant that I'm getting now, I wouldn't do that. Because there's just numerous things here which is just not going to stick. He's not going to average 37. He's not going to have a 38 usage. He's not going to shoot 46. He's not going to block 1.7 shots. He's not going to hit 5 threes. They all might come down by 10, 20% from, wow, what is going on, to that's still really great. And we often find it hard to delineate between the levels of good. Often we have an idea of good, bad. Good, bad. That's all we have. When there are degrees of all this stuff. It's very, very good, very, very good, very, very good, very good, very good, 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 very good, bad, 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 very bad, very bad, very, 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 very bad. Like, I know that sounded stupid, but like, it's all spread out like a rainbow of goodness and badness. What am I talking about? Anyway, today's episode is brought to you by Wayfair. Yeah, good old Wayfair. After the holidays have all settled down, give your home a little bit of TLC. Declutter it, refresh it, tidy it up. Wayfair can help you do that. Whether it's a new look to a bunch of furniture, accents, colors, little bits and pieces to help things tidy, Wayfair has everything you need all within your budget. Their huge selection makes it easy to find the pieces that fit your style and your budget, and the free and hassle-free delivery, well, even for the larger items, well, that's just an absolute W. Wayfair's site, Wayfair starts with a W, of course it's going to be a W. Wayfair's site is so easy to navigate, and everything that you find, or everything you can or you need to find, it's so easy to do. So easy to find that stuff. There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or budget. So give your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That is Wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Okay, that is one sell high done. This is an obvious one, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's John the Baptist Collins. This guy has been a frustration of mine all season. Again, much like when I spoke about Christian Brown earlier, my idea on Collins, who was getting drafted around pick 95 to 100 from memory, I was like, why would we draft him there? He's a bench player for the Jazz who are going to tank. Why? This makes no sense. Right? That was my thought. It makes no sense. That he's not going to play strong minutes. He's not going to be useful enough. And I was correct. He played 18, 24, 19, 23, 28, 22 minutes to start the season. Even when players got hurt, he was coming off the bench. And Taylor Hendricks went down after 3 games, and then they went with Kyle Filipowski and Cody Williams and random, and then they put Collins into the starting lineup, and he's cooked ever since. All right, it took a couple of things to happen, but he's been unbelievable. And then he had the random absences all through. Interestingly, he has played, 6 of his last 7 games? With big minutes in all of them? Including 39 and 36 the last 2 games. Trade showcase? Yeah, reverse trade showcase. After the deadline, he's playing more minutes. But we know that it's the Jazz. We know there are risks. Even if there aren't, right? Even if they decide we're just going to play this out, what Collins is doing, this is where narrative comes in. What Collins is doing is just not likely to hold. I don't think he's a 33-minute-a-night player for a start. I don't think that's going to happen. He's also blocking 1.7 shots. So, I'm sorry, John, what? He's at 1.1 for the season. He was at 0.9 last season. 1.7, that's... No, I'm so sorry to tell you. I don't think that's a real number at all. He had 0.6 steals a game last season. He's at 0.8 now. Now, he's at 1 for the season with steals. I don't know. I still fail to believe that. His usage is massively high as well. His free throw attempts are high. I just don't believe the minutes. I don't believe the shot blocking. I don't believe the free throw attempts. I don't believe so much of this. His season numbers, 18-8, right? That's really good. His current numbers, 19-8 with 1.7 blocks. His free throw attempt rate is fine, but like, how does he play, or why does he play these minutes? Collins is the 48th ranked player over the last 2 weeks. He's averaging 34 fantasy points. I think he's more of a 80 per game guy and 30 fantasy point guy. They haven't aggressively moved into the Brooklyn Nets, let's play our starters and our good players 26-minute zone. They could easily do that. And at any point here, Johnny could just easily be done for the year. He is rolling. After the deadline, the minutes are up. If I could do any trade on him for a top 110 player, I would take it. And he is never going to play better than he currently is, I don't think. So I would absolutely be looking to move on. And it's probably impossible, honestly. But every time that he plays a big game, every time that he plays big minutes, you get an extra data point to use when selling him off, or you don't even need to use that to convince somebody. That other person has it in their head. They go, maybe he's just going to play. They're bad anyway. They lost by 30 points to the Lakers yesterday, whatever it was, with them playing. Maybe they just play them out. I don't think they do. And even if they do, I think there are certain things that John is doing right now that just won't stay at that level. I'd be very happy to get off of Johnny at the moment and recoup something that I feel good about being able to play all through the thing. And remember, All-Star break is a big reset. It's a big reset for many teams. Whether it is for the Jazz or not, I don't know. But it is often a big reset in terms of ideas, structures, rotations, plans. It is often a big reset, and you got 3 days until we hit that mark. And then I'll be interested to see what they do. Speaking of the team that just beat John Collins and the Jazz, Austin Reaves. Again, you might think it's obvious that he's a sell high because every time I say this, I'm going to be annoyed. Luka Doncic plays for the Lakers. Why am I annoyed? Not because it's the Lakers. I don't hate the Lakers. You are one of the most popular franchises in the world, Lakers fans. You don't have to have paranoia that everyone's against you, right? We're all good with that. Why does it annoy me that he plays for the Lakers? Because he doesn't play for the Mavs. And that idiot front office ownership combination, just one of the most insane things you could do. The obvious thing with Luka going to the Lakers is that Austin Reaves is going to lose value. I firmly believe he's losing a ton of value. He's not going to stay at this number. He's going to lose so many of those ball handling chances. We saw this. When D'Angelo Russell played for the Lakers, Reaves' numbers weren't as good. Russell went to the bench, Reaves' numbers rose. Russell got traded, they rose again. So Reaves stays as a number 3 usage guy, which he was behind AD and LeBron. But the difference between Luka's usage and AD's usage is very different. And usage, remember, is turnovers and shot attempts. It's got nothing to do with running the offense. It's got nothing to do with ball handling, assist opportunities. The thing we have at the moment is that Reaves is the 11th ranked player over the last 2 weeks. 11th. How's that happening? What the hell is going on? 24, 6 and 6. 49 and 96 with 7 free throw attempts a game. 7. A usage of 27%. A true shooting of 67%. He's at 1.6 steals. This man is not a steals guy. He averaged 0.8 last season. He's higher this year, 1.2. But he is absolutely cooking. 40% on threes. Big three volume. Big free throw volume. Unbelievable free throw percentage. It's the great debate, whatever. He's a great free throw shooter. He's 87. Big difference between 87 and 96 though, isn't there? One is great. One of them is Tony Terrific. Great. Tony Terrific? That's not the right... Who's the great guy? The cereal mascot that I don't really know. Now I need to check that out. I need to... Tony Terrific? What am I talking about? That's a made-up character. Tony the Tiger. What's wrong with Tony Terrific? I think I've lost it. Anyway, 96 to 86, great. And then the other ones are Tony the Tiger. Great. Yeah? So look at these numbers. Will he maintain 1.6 steals? Magic 8 Ball says probably not. Will he maintain 6.1 assists? All signs point to no. 24 points a game? Possible. 7 free throw attempts? Don't think so. 96 from the line? Don't care how good you are? No. 67 true shooting? No way. 27 usage? Almost no chance. The reason, and I say all this as backstory to talk about it because, and I say like everyone knows this, we all are aware that Reaves is going to drop. The reason I tell you this is that they played with Luka Doncic yesterday. And he had 22, 9, and 4 and attempted 7 free throws and hit them all. So you've got a data point where, again, you don't have to sell this, but someone might go, maybe the reports of his demise were premature. Maybe Reaves can sustain. He can't. Not at this level, but maybe he can sustain. Where do I have him rest of season? Inside the top 100. I've got him 89th. Like, could he be 65th? Sure. Could he roll top 50? I don't. And he's been like top 50 this season. I don't think that holds. So I think if you could get a top 45 player back, I'd be pretty happy to do it. Also, his last 2 games without Luka and LeBron and AD, he had 29 combined free throw attempts before the game where they both returned. 29 free throw attempts with 35 and 38 usage. And he is like one of those key players. And there are certain guys who can't do this. But Reaves is one of these guys. Scalability. So that's really important to note with Reaves, is if he ever's on a different team or a situation is different and long-term injuries to someone, he will ramp up and ramp down. He'll run at 24 usage with 4 assists, or if need be, he'll go 33 usage, 8 assists, top 10 player. Honestly, like that, he can do that. But the circumstances don't demand that. He doesn't demand that role because that's not who he is, but he's got scalability. There are certain players who can't ramp up. There are certain players who find it incredibly difficult to ramp down, and they become detriments to their team. Reaves is scalable. And that's great for him in real life, but it's something we need to be aware of from a fantasy point of view. So it's great that we got the data point where he was still very, very good with Luka in the last game. So when you are attempting to do this, we've got that data point there. I wouldn't want too many more data points to see like what it looks like, because I think he's going to be fine. But yeah, we're talking about getting a maximal return. Today's episode is brought to you by OpenPhone. And when you're running a small business, your business and personal lives often get merged, intermeshed, entwined. You don't always want that. That can get confusing and annoying. OpenPhone makes it easier to manage all of your business calls. It is the #1 business phone system designed to help you keep your work and personal life separate. For just $15 a month, you get complete transparency and visibility into everything that's happening with your business phone number. OpenPhone works through an app on your phone or on your computer, and it integrates with tools like HubSpot and hundreds of others. It also uses AI-powered call transcripts and summaries, so you get a rundown of your calls and action items the second that you hang up. And if you miss a call, well, no worries. Automated messages get sent directly to your customer, ensuring that you never miss an opportunity to engage. Right now, OpenPhone is offering 20% off your first 6 months when you go to openphone.com/lockedonnba. That is OpenPhone, OpenPhone.com/lockedonnba for 20% off 6 months. Openphone.com/lockedonnba. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. We've got a couple more to go of the sell highs. We'll go to Milwaukee. We talked about Brook Lopez on the buy lows. I think we've got Bob Portis here on the sell highs. Bobby Portis with Giannis out, it's usually an automatic Bobby Portis big game scenario. The frustrating part about this is that yesterday that didn't happen. I'm incredibly skeptical that when Giannis and Brook and now Kyle Kuzma are all there, I think that Bob may not be a 12-team league guy. He might be, but I'm not sure he will. In the past, they would run the 3 big men. And even in games where he played 25 off the bench, it was enough to hold. I'm not sure we're going to get there. He's on an unbelievable run outside of yesterday. 45 fantasy points over the last 2 weeks. The 27th ranked player. For the season, he's averaging 14 and 8, which is all right, but he doesn't get steals, doesn't get blocks, doesn't get assists. His three-point volume is down. His field goals are down. He's been whatever. He's been mid-ish. But recently, 32 minutes a night, not going to stick at all. No way. 19 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, and a block a game. He's attempting 16 field goal attempts a game. What? He's at 12 for the season. He's at 16. Yeah, that's a big number. He's attempting 5 threes a game. A very big number. His season-long three-point attempt rate is 3.6. He's hitting them at a normal number, 38%. His usage is slightly elevated, but realistically, it's just he's gone from 25 to 32 minutes. And Kuzma's now there and starting ahead of him. And Giannis is going to return after the break. And I think that him moving to then the fourth option in the front court, means it's not necessarily going to hold him as a must-roster player. If I could somehow, I know he's the 27th ranked player, if I could somehow get a top 110, top 100 player back, I'd very happily do it. Last game, 26 minutes, 7 and 7. That's going to make it difficult, yes? But the games before, 23-17, 26-15, 18-13. He missed a bunch of time before that for personal reasons. He just absolutely cooked in those games and was putting up huge numbers, and yesterday, not good. If I can just get anyone that I would use regularly in a standard format, I would do it, because to me, he is a waiver wire streaming level player on an intact Bucks team. So see how you go. It's a risky one, because what if Giannis doesn't come back? Bob might roll at top 90. But I think it's one of those ones where you can actually really cash in if it's done smartly. This next one is for the double onyxers out there. It's for the deeper leagues. Well, not really, because this man is being added in a lot of different spots, and his name is Aaron Wiggins. He plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is not everybody, right? But every time something happens like this with Wiggins, there's always going to be somebody. And one thing I've learned is that if one person says something, they are not alone. They might represent 5% of people, 2%, 10%, but they're not alone. So when I get multiple questions, I go, Aaron Wiggins, looks like he's figured it out. Looks like he's breaking out. Is there a chance this sticks? If I get that question, and I have, about Aaron Wiggins multiple times, then people believe it. Not everybody, not a majority, not a plurality, which I don't think even applies in this scenario, but somebody believes it. Wiggins is cooking. For the season, by the way, 170, he's not 170, I've got him projected 175 rest of season. For the season, Aaron Wiggins is, I'm just going to bring up his numbers on my screen. He's nowhere near what he's doing at the moment. We'll get to that. He's averaging 32 fantasy points over the last 2 weeks. He's the 62nd ranked player in category leagues. Like Aaron Wiggins. Again, the number for him, roster numbers, is rising. It's through the roof. We're up to 60% rostered according to Basketball Monster in 12-team leagues. He's around 180, 190th for the season, playing 22 minutes a night. He's averaging, like you can see down the bottom, 10, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 0.8 steals, 0.2 blocks, 50 and 85. He's a very good shooter. But what has happened at the moment is that Lou Dort has missed games. The Hong Kong Mattress, Carson Wallace, has missed games. Alex Caruso has missed games. Chet Holmgren came in and then he missed some time. Jalen Williams missed some games. Isaiah Joe missed some games. That's a lot of players. When they're all healthy, Wiggins is not going to do this. In fact, back on the 29th of January, so literally exactly 2 weeks ago today, he had 2 points in 14 minutes. The game before that, he had 4 points in 17 minutes. So on the 26th of January, 4, 1, and 0. Yuck. The next game, 2, 2, and 1. That's disgusting. The game after that, 41 and 14 with 6 threes. Excuse me. And then he started 6 consecutive games and went 13 points, 17 points, 18 points, 26 points, and then he scored 24 off the bench yesterday in 25 minutes. What do all those games have in common? He shot over 50% in every one of them. Very good shooter. That's an outrageous number. His 3-point percentage in those games, 43, 50, 50, 20, 62, 57. All right. His steal number, which, like, look at all these outlier numbers. 29 minutes, not holding. 20 points, not holding. 3 threes, not holding. 14 field goal attempts. What are you talking about? 92 from the line. Tony Tiger, not holding. 0.7 turnovers. Maybe. 45 from 3. That actually could hold. He's had some ridiculous 3-point shooting seasons before. He's only at 39 this season, but he shot 49 from 3 last season, which, again, it feels like an outlier. It was in 16 minutes. 7 3-point attempts a game, not holding. 66 on 2s, not holding. 69 true shooting, not holding. None of it is. Not a single part of this is holding. And this is, again, part of the thing. Last game, he went to the bench. He played 25 minutes and he was still great. So while you can't necessarily use that in an argument, if you're trying to get rid of him, because, again, the people will go, if you think he's so good, just hold him yourself, man. But someone who might be invested in getting him might do their due diligence and look into it and go, he actually came off the bench and was still ridiculously good. Maybe he can keep this going. Maybe he has broken out. And I'm here to tell you he hasn't. Even if Wallace or Joe remain out, he's probably not playing 29 minutes, and he's definitely not doing these things. He's not hitting 3 threes or scoring 20 points or being 69 true shooting or going at 92 from the line or attempting 14 shots. He's not doing any of that stuff. So if you're in a deeper league, consider it. Is he worth streaming? Maybe. I wouldn't have any faith in it, though, whatsoever. I wouldn't have any faith in it. All this stuff happened. It happened. The numbers that he's got at the moment, 32 fantasy points, this happened. This is what he's averaged. If you added him 2 weeks ago and rolled with him, you have been incredibly happy. It would have been ballsy after he scored 2 points in 14 minutes to decide, right, now's the time to add Aaron Wiggins. That would have been an incredibly ballsy and, honestly, stupid move that paid off. There's nothing to suggest that would have happened. But it did. I'm not denying that happened. But we've got to look at, okay, that happened, now what? How does it move from here? And you might get another good game while Wallace and Joe and Chet rests and all that stuff. You might get that. But to me, there's just no way. So this is more like waiver wire advice. It's deeper league trades. It's even if you happen to add Aaron Wiggins after he scored 40, and then you sort of keep going and going and going. But can you get anything back that has reliability rest of season? Because that is what I would do. And I know that some of you are going to say, Josh, I picked him up for free. I'm just going to enjoy this. And to you, I say, do it. Absolutely. Just enjoy it. But don't close yourself up to opportunities. If someone wants to get him and they believe in it more than you enjoy it, that's when you trade him. You don't have to, but you don't close yourself off to it, I don't think. And they are sell highs. These are not the only sell highs that exist. There are others. There are others that are around. It's not just 5 players, and you don't have to trade them. You can just enjoy the fruits of their labor as it happens right now. That's how we roll. That's how it works. That's how I want you to approach it as well. Guys, hit the thumb on the video. Subscribe to the video. Leave your comments down below. Keep it sleazy. Keep it breezy. Keep it easy. Keep it sneezy. But also keep it positive. Let's keep it positive, but let's keep it improving. I'm not telling you that you guys are negative all the time. Because someone said, we're not just these people who sit at home and lick Dorito dust off their fingers. And if you are, good for you. That's you. Well done. But I think this sort of stuff, it helps me. I don't do any of that. I don't sit there and eat Doritos. I hate that feeling on my finger. I love Doritos, but I don't like that feeling on my fingers. Side point. But we all need to just have like I think an improvement mindset is a good way to do it. What did I do? How can I be better? What was good? What was bad? Don't focus entirely on one thing. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.